You know, I'm beginning to think that Marvel is basically like Pixar now. They really can't make a film wrong. Except for their villains, they still suck. So Doctor Strange is a film that stars Benedict Cumberbatch and Tilda Swinton, and it follows the story of a man named Stephen Strange. He's an ingenious doctor who goes around saving everyone, but also very arrogant and all in it for the glory, and he's also very cynical. Then one day he's in a car crash and the doctors aren't able to heal him. Anyway, he tries to get Western science to help him and that doesn't work, so then he goes to the east and finds an ancient monastery and learns magic and stuff. And then from there becomes a cool superhero thing. Because that's what you do in the Marvel Universe. This movie was really important for Marvel because it's setting up magic in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, we've had aliens, we've had artificial intelligence, we've had mutants, and now we're adding this other element in, and we've really not seen anything like this before. So it was really important that they got this right so that they could add this other dimension in, and everything that is involved with that dimension in the comics would be able to translate into the screen. Ultimately, it worked. This movie is a really strong Marvel movie, and the visuals in it are absolutely incredible. If you saw in the trailers, there's a lot of really cool Inception-style effects going on, with all the dimensions warping. And the best thing is, they use this in a lot of the scenes to progress the story, not just as a cool gimmick. Like in Ant-Man, where the action sequences all revolved around them using their shrinking powers in different ways, this movie uses the bending time and dimensions type aspect in the action scenes particularly to really make something that we honestly haven't seen before. So I'd say this film is really worth watching in 3D just because of all the cool stuff going on in it. I think this movie was very clever as well with the way it used a lot of these different dimensions and stuff. There was a real philosophical element to all of it. Particularly between Benedict Cumberbatch and Tilda Swinton, they had a lot of conversations where you talk about like what's beyond what we see and all that cool stuff. I ultimately was worried that this magic would be a bit too weird for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but ultimately they did a really good job at bringing it all together in a Marvel film. So you have to give credit to them for being able to make a film about a superhero magician who manipulates the dimensions actually watchable. Also, Benedict Cumberbatch carries this movie. Pretty much when I came out of this film, the only Doctor Strange I can imagine now is Benedict Cumberbatch. He embodies the character really well and really is able to carry it as a solo movie. However, this movie is definitely not perfect. I noticed at the start the pacing is a bit rushed. I think this is because Marvel recognised that they were making yet another origin movie and wanted to get that out of the way as quickly as possible so that we could get onto the cool Doctor Strange stuff. And that's good, but it skips over a lot of character development that I feel could have brought the story up a bit. For example, we barely see anything of Doctor Strange before the car crash, and once he starts learning magic, he goes from just starting to learn magic to being an expert pretty quickly. We don't have really as much of a training montage as we could have had, and ultimately the background characters suffer a lot from this. I mean, Tilda Swinton is really good, and her character is the least affected by it because she is the ancient one who we know nothing about. And the other characters are good as well. In fact, their acting is really good, but they don't get as much depth as they could have. Often they don't seem like their own characters, they're more just tools for Doctor Strange's character. We've got the love interest, who we really should have seen more of at the start of the movie. We've got the villain who, come on Marvel, get your villains together. He's another forgettable one. We've got the sidekick, who is there. And we've got the NPC who basically just gives out the information. He gives it out very well, and he's very funny, but he's just there to give out information. And the acting for all of this was really good. They just weren't given enough to do. Also, the music in this movie is rather forgettable, but Marvel haven't done any good soundtracks, right? So ultimately, I'd give this movie a 7 out of 10. It's definitely a strong Marvel movie, but not the best Marvel movie. Guardians of the Galaxy still has that one. So, those were my thoughts on Doctor Strange. If you would like to leave your thoughts in the comment section down below, I'd appreciate that. And if you'd like to see more of this stuff, then let me know, because I'm just trying this out as an experiment, and yeah, would love to hear feedback. Thank you, and good night.